Hello, it's day 138, and I want to talk about the soup diet. There was a period of time between about 2008 and 2012 where soup companies started marketing themselves as makers of diet food. Soup was the new diet food, and when I was doing student teaching, I saw this nearly every day. Women between the ages of like 30 and 40 would be eating soup for at least 2 meals a day, sometimes three. Soup became the new Slim Fast. And I remember being in the teacher's lounge at that time and seeing a line for the microwave with just people with their little plastic bowls full of soup waiting to warm it up. You weren't supposed to eat anything else with the soup because soup alone is enough to sustain you. It was very Oliver Twist in that way. Now, me being an impressionable college kid at the time, I also went on the soup diet. I would eat tomato at lunch and I would eat chicken noodle with a small piece of bread at dinner. And that was what I ate in a day. I was able to stay on that diet for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I think it was. Because eventually I had a breakdown, like I always do when I go on very restrictive diets. Like most people do when they go on very restrictive diets. And eventually I ended up binging back everything that I had lost. So what did I gain? I gained like about 2 weeks of really uncomfortable eating habits. I also gained a extreme dislike of soup. I still don't eat soup. But the reason I want to bring this up today is because I am seeing the soup diet make a comeback. Not a huge comeback, not as huge as it was back then, but if you go through the soup aisle these days, you'll still see on the labels, here's how many calories are in this cup of soup. Here's how many grams of protein. Here's how many carbs. Don't you want to know how many carbs are in the soup? Come closer. Touch the soup can. But no, I've been seeing it among my students, particularly my young female students, who are bringing nothing but soup for lunch. Like I said, small recurrence. Very, very quiet echoes from the past. But nothing really changes in dieting circles. Everything just goes around and around. Slim Fast? That's just these meal replacement shakes these days. Soup? Soup is just a liquid diet these days. Go on a cleanse, go on a juice cleanse. Everything just gets remarketed, rebranded for a new generation, but nothing really changes. And I'm starting to think that that's why weight loss doesn't really work for most people. We all know what we have to do: eat a moderate amount, exercise a moderate amount, and over time we will lose weight. We'll get healthier, we'll change. So why do we keep falling for it every time? Why do we keep falling for it every time they repackage it as something different? There are still so many people in this world who can think of nothing worse than getting fat, or being fat, or living as a fat person. And as somebody who has started intuitive eating a little bit more intensely these past couple weeks, I'm finding that I get really uncomfortable when people tell me about their diets. Not because I feel like I need to be doing one, or I feel like, oh my god, I'm such a failure because diets never work for me. It's because I feel bad for them. I feel bad for people who are still caught in that cycle of spending money on things that don't work. I'm starting to get to the point where I think that the only thing you should spend money on when it comes to fitness is either exercise equipment or a gym membership. Food is a huge piece of the puzzle when it comes to fitness, but I don't think like special diet foods or special diets like the soup diet are really the way that you should be taking your nutrition. But of course, I'm not giving advice. I'm just making observations. And the soup diet is returning, you guys. Stand strong because soup is nasty.